anything that I say, no matter how crazy, Usha has to smile and laugh and celebrate it.
My wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not in a particularly religious family, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me.
But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD, and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
A simple comment that should have meant nothing ended up cracking open a fresh wave of speculation. That's when things shifted. According to people close to her, Usha, wife of JD Vance, has quietly told friends she once overheard someone predict that JD would divorce her, marry Erika Kirk, and then campaign his way to the White House in 2028. It sounds like a plot ripped straight from a political drama. Yet the rumor caught fire after Usha noticed signs she couldn't brush off. That the viral hug wasn't innocent at all, but a gentle rollout, an early move to position Erika as the internet's imagined future First Lady. And when someone asked Erika, she simply smiled, fueling everything in the online storm.
What do you hope to achieve for Charlie and for the country?
Oh my goodness. All of his wildest dreams for this organization.
The answer's dramatic tremble only convinced people further that none of this was random. Big ambitions, stalled plans, and unresolved desires suddenly became the stage for a drama the internet refuses to move on from. So what does it signal for Usha Vance? Those close to her claim she started fearing JD was slipping away, maybe even inching toward a future with Erika Kirk. But then the whispers got darker. Some insiders insist Usha sensed something so unsettling that she worried she could be pulled into a dangerous situation. These theories grow from the still murky questions surrounding Charlie Kirk's exit. Was it a long game to push obstacles aside, pressure Usha to retreat, and set up JD and Erika before 2028? It's all unverified chatter, yet the uneasiness keeps spreading.
I confronted Usha Vance. I held her hand and I told her, honestly, I do not know how I'm going to get through this.
Usha isn't watching this saga from the sidelines anymore. She knows better than anyone that the chaos unfolding around her isn't some overcooked internet fantasy. She stitched the clues together herself. Cryptic messages, suspicious photos, odd timelines. Just like the online detectives obsessing over whatever is brewing between JD and Erika. Those close to her say she's seen enough to genuinely shake her. Especially the eerie possibility that Erika began carving out a new future the moment Charlie was buried. But the real explosion came with that infamous hug at the Turning Point event in Oxford. It lasted mere seconds, yet detonated every unanswered question about motives, relationships, and the shadows behind the stage. And when Erika stepped up with that too sweet smile, casually comparing JD Vance to her late husband, that soft little line hit the crowd like a live wire.
Will ever replace my husband? No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight, because he understands the fight that we're up against.
The line hit with a spark in her eye, like she'd accidentally let a secret emotion slip. Seconds later, Erika carried on. That's why I'm honored to introduce him tonight, because he gets what we're protecting. The instant JD Vance stepped onto the stage, the hug happened. That hug became the wildfire everyone debated. Watch it blindly, and it might look like a grieving widow hugging a friend. Context changes everything. The internet exploded. Why does a recently widowed woman hug a married man so intimately? Why that electric excitement? Why every word points to JD not as a friend, but as a replacement? The kicker? The body language. Tight leather pants, JD's hand on her hip, Erika's hand grazing his back and hair. Not your standard formal behavior, especially for someone mourning. And for those tracking the September 10th event, Erika's gestures simply don't match typical grief.
Nothing is changing, but I want to preface, we're not awkward. We're not like weird
cringe.
We're not cringe. We're not going to be tweeting as if it's him. That's tone deaf and really disturbing. And anyone who does that's like morbidly off.
Hey, we're going to be doing about 5 more episodes a week now. So just tell the team and make sure that happens.
3 hours of this, 2 more hours of.
It's like, lady, wasn't your husband just publicly executed only a couple of weeks ago? I've never had this much joy on my best day.
But let's zoom out to the headline everyone's whispering about. Insiders close to the Trump family have openly hinted that J.D. Vance is being groomed for the spotlight. Lara Trump has flat out suggested that after Donald Trump's term, Vance is set for the next 8 years. What's that supposed to mean? For political watchers, it screams one thing. J.D. Vance is being carefully positioned as the new face of the conservative movement. And in a setup like that, anyone orbiting him, especially a young, devout, self-made widow soaking up non-stop attention, is instantly catnip for speculation, gossip, and wild online theories.
Imagine, Stuart, we kept what we've seen happen over the past 10 years going for the next 8 years, which is what a lot of people believe is going to happen, that the Democrats are in such a bad spot with no leader, no message, and nothing that the American people are interested in, that once Donald Trump ends his term, and we love the Trump 2028 hats, don't kid yourself, I know everybody, especially a lot of Democrats love those, that it will be J.D. Vance for the next 8 years, and that is terrifying to the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Since September 10th, Erika hasn't been off camera for more than a day. Podcasts, events, live streams, interviews, content creation. She's everywhere, nonstop. And yet the biggest question lingers. Is this just her way of coping with grief, or a meticulously plotted launch into a whole new chapter? Erika dominates the public eye, from talk shows to small appearances, almost daily. And every single time she delivers a line social media can't ignore. J.D. Vance is the only one who compares to Charlie. Tiny statement, huge impact. Many insist it's no coincidence. Repetition isn't flattery, it's signaling. And from those signals, the online crowd asks the daring question. Is Erika angling for a bigger, nationally significant role? Comments on X exploded. One read, J.D. Vance will divorce his wife, marry Erika, and run for president in 2028. Another, J.D. could claim religious differences to end his marriage, then pair with Erika, the perfect conservative Christian image. Pure speculation? Yes. But combined with politics, image, and controversy, it's impossible to ignore. But now, let's focus on Usha, who many think is in a seriously tricky spot. Recent photos have sparked comments that she looks drained, lifeless, or even emotionally bruised. These weren't attacks. They reflected genuine concern for a woman who's always been open about her marriage. Because before Erika entered the picture, J.D. and Usha insisted their religious differences never drove a wedge between them. Usha has shared stories of her loving childhood in an Indian immigrant family, raised with care, strict education, and cherished traditions. When they met J.D., curiosity and mutual respect brought them together. Their differences weren't obstacles. They were lessons that deepened understanding. J.D. embraced her culture, learned to cook Indian dishes, respected her vegetarianism, and often said these contrasts made their life richer.
My background is very different from JD's. I grew up in San Diego, in a middle-class community. With 2 loving parents, both immigrants from India. When JD met me, he approached our differences with curiosity and enthusiasm. He wanted to know everything about me, where I came from, what my life had been like. Although he's a meat and potatoes kind of guy, he adapted to my vegetarian diet and learned to cook food from my mother, Indian food.
Fast forward to today, and J.D. Vance is once again on stage, preaching his Christian faith and casually dropping that he hopes his wife will one day see things his way.
My wife did not grow up Christian. I think it's fair to say that she grew up in a Hindu family, but not in a particularly religious family in either direction. Now, most Sundays, Usha will come with me to church. As I've told her, and I've said publicly, and I'll say now in front of 10,000 of my closest friends, do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way. But if she doesn't, then God says everybody has free will, and so that doesn't cause a problem for me. That's something you work out with your friends, with your family, with the person that you love.
This saga has long since left the personal realm. It's now a political chessboard where every gesture carries more weight than it seems. J.D. Vance has repeatedly mentioned that every weekend Usha joins him at church. He drops it casually in front of tens of thousands of fans. My wife wasn't raised in a Christian household, but I hope one day she feels as I do. In his words, he claims to respect Usha's choices, insisting faith is a personal journey. But while it sounds innocent, many sensed a hidden subtext, especially amid recent scandals. The moment JD mentioned Usha's family isn't very religious, social media erupted. Not at him, but at the glaring contradiction with what Usha had publicly shared.
One is that I did grow up in a religious household. My parents are Hindu, and that was one of the things that made them such good parents, that make them really very good people. And so I think I've seen the power of that in my own life.
In Usha's story, religion isn't some side note. It's central to who she is. So why does J.D. Vance paint her family differently? That's when the internet started buzzing. Even more striking, Usha and J.D. had an interfaith wedding, complete with a Hindu priest and traditional blessings. Usha has stressed how meaningful that ceremony was for her and her family, honoring her cultural roots, and that's where the speculation exploded. Is J.D. twisting the narrative for his political fans? Or is he subtly highlighting religious incompatibility to soften rumors about marital trouble? Of course, this is just media and social media chatter, not confirmed facts. But one thing is obvious. The shift in how JD talks about Usha has many uneasy. Some online speculate he's laying groundwork in case the marriage falters, especially as Erika Kirk keeps surfacing in controversies. They ask, is mentioning religion JD's way of priming the stage for bigger moves? No one knows the truth. No one claims JD is acting wrongly. But the contrast between the old story and today's coverage is turning heads. And in the social media era, one misstep sparks 1,000 theories. To many following this saga, the triangle between J.D. Vance, Usha, and Erika Kirk feels increasingly like strategy rather than emotion. Some online chatter hints that J.D. Vance might be considering a split from Usha to better align with the voter base he's courting, especially the die-hard MAGA crowd. Pure speculation, of course, but it keeps resurfacing alongside recent statements from both J.D. and Erika Kirk. Timing matters. Just a month after her husband passed, Erika took the stage and remarked, "I see some similarities between my husband and J.D." Emotional for some, but for the internet it screamed signal. Shortly after, J.D. publicly noted his wife's lack of faith, a detail that was never an issue before. Cue the familiar refrain, coincidence or design. Enter the hotly debated Pauline privilege, a Catholic rule letting a baptized person end a non-sacramental marriage to remarry a believer. To many, this theoretically opens the door for J.D., a Catholic, to leave his current marriage and wed someone sharing his faith. And unsurprisingly, the name most tied to this speculation is Erika Kirk, whose image resonates strongly with the Christian community. The key point, no one is claiming this was inevitable. No one has said J.D. Vance intended it. Yet the public keeps buzzing because odd, overlapping details keep surfacing. On one side is Usha, who has openly shared her Hindu upbringing and the values that shaped her. On the other is Erika Kirk, a devout believer, frequently invited to missionary events and recently embraced by the conservative community following her husband's death. Online, a theory quietly spreads. If JD aims for the presidency soon, an ideal image partner could be a strategic boost. That's why every interaction between JD and Erika is under a magnifying glass. From the controversial hugs to cryptic comments and behind-the-scenes moments, no one knows what's truly happening. With all the unusual developments since Charlie Kirk's passing, many feel nothing can be dismissed as coincidence. Perhaps this is just the opening of a far more tangled story, leading into the wildest chapter yet, where politics, personal feelings, and ambition clash unpredictably. A particularly hot debate, linking two events, the sudden exit of Charlie Kirk and the rising prominence of J.D. Vance and Erika Kirk in social media speculation. No official confirmation connects the two, Yet netizens can't ignore the relentless coincidences. First, the timing. As soon as Charlie vanished, Erika became the spotlight magnet, invited everywhere, speaking on multiple stages, and uttering seemingly innocent lines that suddenly place her at a crossroads with JD. Next, the so-called lone wolf saga, as covered by countless newspapers, is riddled with gaps that leave netizens endlessly questioning. If you've tracked it from the start, you'll notice corrections, conflicting reports, controversial videos, and details that blur more than clarify. When facts are murky, theories thrive. Some see this as a standalone tragedy, but others, especially on TikTok, X, and Reddit, view it as a gateway for Erika Kirk to reshape her life and JD Vance to recalibrate his future. Things heat up when netizens dissect Erika's expressions, noting her grief seems unusually controlled, even theatrical. Sure, no one can judge mourning, but the internet scrutinizes everything. Then JD drops lines like, "My wife wasn't raised in a religious environment. I hope one day she sees things as I do." Instantly, the online crowd links the stories, not claiming a conspiracy, but noting the perfect storm of suspicious details. The focus quickly shifts to Usha Vance. Why did JD say this publicly? Why now? Is she okay? Some comments, even joking, read as extreme. Usha Vance will vanish from headlines in 2 to 4 weeks. Satirical, yes, but they capture genuine worry. Usha is unfairly caught between media scrutiny and personal life. There's no evidence she's in danger, and no proof JD or Erika acted improperly. Yet unease spreads, fueled by Usha's silence, Erika's non-stop appearances, and JD's provocative statements, creating the perfect storm for speculation. Each unanswered question about Charlie Kirk's passing makes the online community sense a larger puzzle. Now we enter the wild phase, where emotion, politics, and suspicion collide harder than ever. Piece it together, and it's no longer just scattered events. It's a story in motion, spinning towards something bigger than anyone yet sees. Every tiny detail feeds the sense that there's far more beneath the surface. Charlie Kirk's exit, Erika Kirk's rise, JD Vance's provocative statements, and Usha Vance's quiet contemplation all mix into a soundtrack the public can't turn off. Some ask questions, others doubt, and a large crowd wonders, is this the reshaping of a family or a masterclass in national political strategy? And the strangest part, nobody involved clarifies anything. Erika keeps showing up with bright eyes and that same polished smile. JD talks faith and the future to the crowds. Usha remains mysteriously silent, as if catching her breath amid the tidal wave of public scrutiny. When a story intertwines so many coincidences, contradictions, and intersections, the public does what it always does: connect the dots. Once that begins, there's no stopping. Now curiosity blends with concern. What's next? JD's political trajectory, Erika's emerging role, Usha's place in this tangled web, and the biggest question, coincidence or the dawn of a dramatic new chapter? Answers remain elusive, but one thing is clear. This story is far from over, and the next chapter could shock everyone.